Hello, Greg again.
Hello, David. I'm
Um,
hoping we are actually live the correct way now.
let's see. Yeah, weird. All right. I'm not sure if it was OBS or the stream, but anyway, we're here. Hello, everybody. We'll give a few seconds for people to catch up.
Oh yeah, it's back and it's normal.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Whoa! All right.
It looks really good. We
Yay!
did
Sorry,
it.
guys.
Who knows? Um, I'm
So
interested to see how to actually do that
you
and
know
mean to
it
do that.
it wouldn't be a live stream if there wasn't like weird glitches, right? So what are you gonna do? Yeah,
I mean, I want to know actually. Now this is a actual.
we can
Um,
do the investigation later.
no, I mean like how many people stream in 360,
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know, but
right?
I think
We'll,
I
we'll,
think
we'll
you know
invest.
what? We'll
We'll
have to
vet.
try it because
We do
Jesse
have a
has a
360
360
camera.
camera, so
Yeah,
we
we
could
could
borrow
do
it.
it. That would
And
be
so we could do a
interesting.
360 of what it
Yeah.
looks like in. We could do two streams. We'll do one stream with this, like I'll stream in 360, and you can stream normal with that, and so people can look around and see our messy rooms.
Yeah. Right, Stig. Yeah. Dominic's like, this one looks just as good as the last one, and you know, I don't not believe him. I think that you can toggle that setting on like while you're watching the video too. Like if it's available in 3D or not 3D but
I don't
360, you
know.
can squash it.
We didn't have enough time to figure that out. So
But yeah, hello everybody. Sorry for the glitches. But we're here. That's the
okay,
important part. We're
but
all
but
awake.
yeah, and we have to welcome everyone because it's great, and we have a certain thing we got to do to say certain things to
Oh,
certain people.
you're trying to segue. Hold on. 1 second, everybody. This is the smoothest segue. Wait for it. Hold. Nope, not that one. This one. All right, we did it. Thank you, everybody, for being a Patreon. We did it.
And yeah, everyone on this list is great. Thanks for Helge being at the tree support level and everyone else. Just remember, you guys, we try to do fun things like give stuff away, and then no one enters. So we're extending our holiday contest, just so you know, because we didn't. I think we started it too late. We should have
Yep.
started announcing it in November so you had enough time. So, feeling bad about it, we have decided that we're going to extend it.
Oh, I don't feel
So,
bad. I just want to.
so January 8th, the first Sunday in January is
Yep.
going to be the official draw. So you still have time.
So,
Stig, you can get your clip in,
yep.
and then that
Get the
could
clip
be,
in.
if you go into Tinkercad and type your name and make it with put a couple holes on it.
I mean,
That's
I'm
it.
in.
That's an enter, right?
Yeah.
Like it's we're not saying you need to build the next fusion generator or something.
I am.
Well,
Like
okay,
I for
that's
sure
cool.
am.
But but honestly, it could be your initial with a thing to hold it, so you could technically decorate somewhere. So please,
By the way, Discord seems
enter.
to be down. What? What?
Weird.
I don't control
I
Discord.
I
1 second.
I haven't tried logging into Discord
You do.
today. So
You do.
it could be. That's very possible. But there's sometimes we have slow news days, David, and then sometimes these weeks get busy with lots of interesting news.
Yeah, and I mean, Christmas is the time for doing all of this stuff. Some of it, I don't know if it's because it's like the holiday season. I think it's just the normal development life cycle. So
Yeah.
let's start with the second thing, and then we'll
Okay.
start with the first thing. But like,
Fine.
well, no, like I mean in the title order.
Yeah. No, I know
we're,
what you mean.
okay, so we're going. So Marlin is out, and Marlin has been out for many, many years. Just kidding, by the way. But there's a new feature in 2.1.2 that's out, and according to my show notes, it's input shaping. It's input shaping, people. Input shaping. M5 and 9.3. Greg, why is
Yes.
this important to me?
Well, it's important because there's a lot of other versions of firmware out there,
Hmm.
Clipper being one, uh,
Clipper. Yep.
that has had input shaping for a while. And so, what is input shaping? Well, when you're printing with a 3D printer and you are trying to go fast, you generate a frequency in your frame and whole printer, and that frequency will build up, and it can then degrade your prints, and you have to slow down your speed to compensate. What this does is it measures your resonant frequency of your printer, however you have it configured, and optimizes it for the right amount of acceleration,
Mm.
jerk, everything, so that you can now move at higher speeds. Like there's still a limit.
Mm.
You know, you can't go like a million, but you
But
you
I want
you
to.
can go significantly faster and get a very high quality
Mm.
result. And so input shaping is probably one of the features that like Bamboo Labs has it in theirs.
Yeah.
There's there's a lot of printers that could benefit from it, and a lot of people out there that will really
Yep.
enjoy it. So
Yep.
it's something new for Marlin.
Yep.
It's not new in general, but it's
It's new for
something
Marlin.
I find really exciting because I've got the little sensor sitting right over here, and I want to wire it up and get it going. I was going to get it going on Hulk over there,
Hmm.
just never got around to it, and so maybe I got to get it going on both of them
Yep.
and
Yeah.
try it out. And because I haven't read anything really delve deep into it, whether it can do input shaping from the Marlin firmware on the board itself, or does it do it in tandem with a Pi? Haven't read any of that yet. So
Mm.
whereas Clipper, it runs off the Pi. You actually put the sensor, wire it in, and it has a separate set of wires that goes down to the Pi and uses an input on the Pi, and then uses that to measure the frequency as it's moving in its rapid movements.
Yeah, and I mean the input shape. So, Clipper itself is like you guys are familiar with it, but like it does run off of a Pi because it used to be the case that the Pi had a better processing power than the controllers. Now, is that still the case for some controllers? Yes, like the older ones that are still out there, for
Yeah,
sure, right? But the
absolutely.
newer ones, not really. Like you
Yeah.
can probably push them now. Um,
Well, and they seem to be getting faster and faster.
well,
We're on 32-bit
right? And
chips now,
like,
whereas the old
granted, like
ones
a
were
Pi
8.
4 is 64, but like, I
Yeah,
mean,
no, totally.
but like, how much throughput are you actually using to input shape? I guess too is we can say the question, I guess, but like, being that this is a Marlin feature inside of the firmware itself, it will be compiled and sent to whatever device is running Marlin.
So Dominic has just thrown out that he, from what he understands, is you don't need the accelerometer in Marlin for input shaping. You do test prints.
Yep.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and I've actually
Just
seen,
see.
because you can set that up in Clipper that way as well, just with test prints to let it know without
Yeah.
the accelerometers.
So I know because like with the um, pressure advance,
Hmm.
right? You do the same type of thing. You just do a set of prints, and then each print has a different value and
Yep.
whatnot. So maybe they took that approach. I don't. I haven't
But this
delved
comes back to
into it
like
deep.
the closed loop versus an open loop system too, right? Like something
Yeah.
with a sensor will always be better than something without a sensor in general. Like there will be cases where that's not correct, right? But like a 3D printer is a pretty simple thing when you think
Yeah.
about it, right? Like right now, what happens? Like I say G29, and what does it do?
Yeah.
It auto bed
Well,
levels. It
well,
doesn't
and
know that
then
it's doing it right, but it
now
does it.
could you use some of the features like if you had like a 2209, right, with sensorless homing and whatnot? Could you use
Hmm.
some of the torque stuff that it gives in feedback and
Hmm.
whatnot to aid in that stuff? Like I don't know,
I
like there could be some, like for
yeah.
example on a car, right? your ABS sensors
Yeah.
are reused for the tire pressure sensors. Like they use the same sensor
Hmm.
to do, because half the time you're not using ABS, so it can be used for something. So they reuse it. So
Yep.
maybe there's a way that they can, use what you already have
I
hardware
mean,
and
and like that's a good point with the 2209s being capable, right? Because that's basically what an accelerometer does, is it
yeah,
detects the shifts
yeah.
in speed and change
Yeah,
in
and I don't know, the sensorless homing, like maybe, I don't know.
I mean, you
I
could.
but
You'd have to
we,
monitor that pin though, and
yeah.
right now nothing's made to do that. I mean, now my brain's like, yeah, you could totally do that. You just have to do this,
Well,
right?
with firmware, you
Mm.
can make it do new things, right? So it's totally plausible.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm just wildly speculating.
So
Um, you know,
we're gonna have. I mean, this is a good. This update is significant enough for me to say that I'm going to do it in
yeah,
Marlin too. So like this one will probably be like a rollout I do over the holiday.
yeah,
Now I say holiday, but like I don't know if it's holiday for everybody, but like in a week we're on holidays,
yeah,
right?
and
So
it's definitely something that I think is a significant change as a feature wise, that it could be a video too, right?
well, a video and also part of the let's call it the informal workshop process.
Right?
We'll
Yeah,
probably
because
do it on like happy. We'll probably go online, and again, it'll either be in the Discord, which by the way I checked, and the Discord status says up on their website. So if you're having issues, might be local. Refresh. Do a couple
yeah.
things, close it open. But like, yeah, I don't. We just have to figure out where we're gonna hang out. What time is it, Steak, where you are right now? I'm just curious. And then the other thing that I would like to also do on the same vein as this build of Marlin, which actually is really exciting, is I would like to do in tandem Clipper on my SX4.
Yeah, that'd be cool, right? Because you've got the nice fast, like, and throw some input shaping on that, and
Yeah, that's
then
one.
oh
Yeah,
man,
right. So
that'd be
like,
nice.
and like input shaping, although it will help like all your printers, like you're gonna see the most benefit out of high speed printers and like even what are they called, switch wire, is that the one that the bed slinger, the conversion, is that
Yeah, I
from
think
foreign?
so.
So like even doing that, like a bed slinger is still a bed slinger, so like moving that big bed back and forth is
Oh,
always
that
going to be
causes, yeah,
right. And so those printers will never be as high speed as a Core XY or a
delta.
thank you Delta.
I knew what you're going to go for.
You do
7:20 p.m. for Stig.
720. Okay. Because I'm thinking like for most of us in North America and that's close, probably. I'm just curious. Let's see, Dominic, what time zone are you in the states there? Because I know, like, I wonder if we lost Ray, because he was here, then he was gone, but that's fine. If we started a bit earlier on a Sunday, we might be able to get our 4 hours in at a reasonable time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Well, we
then,
could even do a Saturday.
yeah,
We'll put some sort of poll out there to see
yeah.
which day works, and then
I know when we
then
were
we can do it.
doing, Greg and I had some security training, and the fellow was from
Finland.
Finland, and and we started at
Dominic's Central, so
Central. Yeah, so he's pretty
he's
close.
like, you're what, 10 o'clock there?
Yeah,
10:20.
1 hour before, if I remember correct. Anyway, we started early in the morning, not early, but like work, 8 o'clock until it was about 3 o'clock our time, which was midnight over there. It was kind of interesting because different levels of consciousness happen in the morning and the evening.
Yep.
So I'm not so Stig. makes the point, I'm impressed with the speed I can get out of my Ender 3 printers, and I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But they will never be as fast as a Core XY. Like a well-tuned Core XY will always be faster than a bed slinger, and it's just because of physics.
But now, could Stig, squeak a little more speed with input shaping? Probably.
You probably could, right? And the thing is and you can overcome stuff too with the Ender 3s.
Yeah.
Ray soldering, cool, or warm, whichever one. Just don't catch the soldering iron if you drop it, okay? Just let that thing fall. Just let it go.
So there's input shaping's
Yep.
not the only thing new in
No.
Marlin. There's a few other things, like you can have now up to 10 preset preheats,
Yep.
which is kind of nice.
And then they have better multi-material support. They're moving forward with
Yep.
MMU and stuff like that, which is cool.
Yeah.
And there's lots of so. I'll talk about my printer for a second here. Actually,
Okay.
before I talk about my printer, I want to make one more statement about Stig's printer with the Enders. If you put linear rails on your
Ender.
bed plate, why can't I think of that axis?
The Y.
Oh, thank you. It's a bad morning.
I know it's okay. It's okay. You're concussed. It's
I am.
excusable.
It's fine. We'll make it. But if you put linear rails on there, you'll have a lot better time because the less friction, the faster you can move that bed too.
Yeah.
Hey Gary. So on my printer, I was having an issue with that thermistor.
Yes, I remember that.
It was just
You
tripping.
you even changed it.
I
Did you?
Yeah, and then I screwed in the airplane connector on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the statement that fixed it. I screwed the airplane connector.
Oh, it had wiggled loose.
Well, I had moved the printer, and then I didn't do it tight again. But we were talking, and I think, and I do it on one of my printers already. But we were talking about doing dual using the other thermistor spot as an option for that. So, I might show how to do that when we go through firmware.
An option for what?
As the other thermistor, using it as the actually physically using the thermistor TH1 instead of 0 or whichever one's on the bed, right? Because there's multiple.
Yeah, but what would you use it for?
Oh, so kind of in the garage, right, in the enclosure, I use it to monitor the temperature.
Oh
of
yeah,
the
and I do that too. I've configured that even on Clipper to do chamber temperature, for example.
Yeah, and
or just ambient room temperature, whatever.
Right? Yeah, it's good to know. So I think we could throw that in. There's lots of typing going on. The new Sonic pad from Creality says they can support Clipper at faster speeds for the Ender. Again, yeah. I think Ray. I think that statement from them is yes, maybe, but the increase is 5%. It still won't beat the Voron speeds, but because you're limited to platform, right?
But it could improve your finish or your outcome. So even if it doesn't make it faster, it can still optimize it and get a even cleaner result. Right. So let's say you're just on the edge, you're pushing your speed, you're at your max speed, but maybe there's just some imperfections starting. It could clear up that, for example.
And there's not reasons to use one, and I think better is probably it will improve your prints for the best, rather than saying fastest is what companies should start doing. Lots of us that have been doing this since say 2014, many years. It used to be you're rocking 20 millimeters a second, and that was really fast.
Right.
I remember the original MakerBot slicer, and 15 millimeters a second. You're wow, this is revolutionary speeds, right? And then you can start printing 40, 50, 60, and a lot of that had to do with the material too, right? PLA was a lot easier to print faster than an ABS, just by nature of the filament. My print PETG stick has PETG printing at 150 with a 2K accelerometer, and I don't even push the printer. What's your firmware? Have you updated the firmware speed on the printer there, Stick? Just curious. 150 is a good speed. I usually print at about 100 or 90 with my enders, because any faster I'm not in a huge hurry, right? I can wait the 5 minutes that is different. But I've replaced the wheels a few times on them, and like that kind of wear and tear happens more often.
Right.
The faster you go. Not that that's bad, right? Those wheels wear out anyway, so you're gonna have to replace
and sometimes they just wear in. They get to the point where
them.
they're not worn out. You just got to adjust, and that brings me up another topic. We've had a few people who have been having issues with their printers and whatnot lately, and they haven't been doing their maintenance. They don't remember, or they don't even consider. They just like set it up and go, and their eccentric nuts kind of maybe have walked a bit, and or their wheels have worn enough where they now have some slop, and so they haven't tightened their, like I had to completely tighten all axes on this one printer and whatnot. So just be reminded that after so many hours of printing, give your printer a once over.
Give it a little love.
And maybe we'll do another tune-up video and show off this is what to look for when you're having issues, and this is and whatnot, because it's us, we have a lot of experienced guys on the stream, and so I'm sure they don't let that happen to theirs. But there's people who maybe haven't been printing as long, and so it's one of those things that we got to remind people to do the maintenance, tighten your belts, make sure your carriage doesn't wobble when you grab the fan on the front and turn it left and right, just little things like that.
And we got an email actually. It wasn't to the 3D Make It help, but it was to a help support email. And it started with this cord is melted, and it was I got one here. It's I mean, go figure, right? I have one in my computer room. Just the power cord. And it had melted one side, and so then I was like, well, he caught it because he smelled burning. I mean, that's one way to catch it. But like, when something like that happens, you have to think of, okay, it's not probably that DAC cable that is at fault, because those are built like with sealed ends, and generally speaking, nothing can short inside that cable. No, that's generally speaking.
Well, unless you get it from China, and like we had, and they put the wrong gauge wire in ours,
and then they heat up, and then they catch fire.
But
so on his though, this was different. Like, and I'm still not 100% sure.
So my understanding is, so when you push them in, they get nice and snug. I don't think it was pushed in all the way.
That's probably the case, because his receptacle melted too.
Yeah. So I believe it wasn't pushed in all the way, and so it was trying to push as many amps as it could through a really small connection.
Yeah, it had some,
and so it overheated.
Impedance issues.
Yeah, and so there's going to be some rebuilding in the future for that printer.
It's important though, like with stuff like that, and I know some of you guys are like used to working with electrical stuff, and that come and hang out, which is
firmly push the plug in.
But like, when something like that happens too, the issue could be the power supply, because there's actually like, even like if the ends are touching on the power supply, the short can happen further on in that cable. But it also could be internal components. So like if your beginning problem is my cable burnt, I can replace the cable. I guess what I'm saying is look further before you just replace the cable or the receptacle on the printer, and then just plug it in and keep going. Like check all the terminals, right? Because I know some of you, like if I say this statement, and I'm going to say it right now, when you get a new printer, open it up, look at the power supply, make sure all the cables are seated. Creality loves to tin the end of cables.
That's
They're
a no.
notorious for it. If they have, there's enough to clip it off and just push the bare brass against the screw, or you could use those things that I can't remember the name. Ferrules, yeah.
Yep.
However, ferrules are actually only rated for so many amps as well. It's like when
Correct.
you're using a house plug and you push it in instead of screwing it onto the terminal, right? It's only rated so high if you use the actual push in, because it's not going to be crimped and have the best connection in against like that screw head. So check the power supplies, do all that stuff. And it's something that you're not going to do when you first build it, unfortunately. Most people
It's an experience thing.
yeah. And like if it's your first printer too, you're excited to build that thing and get going. I get it. But yeah, monitor,
But
and yeah,
safety is important. Now this was an Ender 2 V2,
Yeah.
so it didn't have the separate power supply. It had the plug on the back and whatnot, and the power switch toggle on the back. So
yeah. Well, it's still a separate power supply. It's just
no, I know, but
yeah.
it didn't have. It wasn't something that they needed to assemble.
Yeah, like it's not easily.
Yeah.
You don't identify it right away because it's in that black plastic ABS thing underneath.
Yeah. So we'll have to we'll be helping him out and just double checking that everything's good and whatnot. So
but just saying it out loud in case one, he's watching, but I haven't seen him in a few weeks, but like sometimes he does. And two, it's good for all of us. Like I don't know when you guys plan maintenance. Usually I do mine around holidays. So like if I got a week or two off, I'll grab a printers, and like that's what I've been doing this week.
Well, I'll be doing an upgrade on my mine to put on the new extruder, and then I will be doing the firmware. So might as well do input shaping at that time.
And again, we talked about doing that like on a live stream together, which I think would be kind of fun. We can hang out, we can do that.
We can probably do that over Christmas or something.
And like I did a 0.6 nozzle on the on my CR10.
I'm going to do that as well.
Yeah, like
not on. I'm going to put it on my Ender.
PSA about 0.6 nozzles, and then we can talk about maybe the next thing, because wow, time is flying. So I did the 0.6 nozzle. I did the E-steps on the extruder. Right, everything that way is fine. I wonder. REM here. So I have a benchy, and like from this side, it looks really good. Right? Wow. There's a little stringing. Who cares, right? Stringing's easy. I can fix the stringing. Okay, ready? Let's look at this side. And can you see my camera, Greg? I think you can. Yeah, okay, good. I'm like, I don't want you to have to like wait for the YouTube. And this side.
Ooh.
So
that's it. Ooh.
Right? What's going on? And I thought, I've done the E-steps. I've set the slicer. And then I texted, like I talked to Greg a bit, like after I had done it, we texted about it. Like even like check out, like there's a double seam on the front of the boat, right?
Yeah.
And so this is kind of a good segue, but like this is done with the Creality base profile and Kira. All right.
Okay.
Now I uninstalled Kira, blew away all the profile data, blew away all of the like app data stuff, everything, reinstalled it, and it did print fine. So like in Kira, in any slicer, when you switch the nozzle, generally it's just a setting either in the printer profile or it's in the filament settings. It depends on the slicer. But yeah, like Kira was tearing the model like that, and then I'm like, well, I wonder if that's like with that big of a gap, like there you can fit a screwdriver in that fissure. I was like, well, that could be retraction too, right? Because I had it set for a different, so I bumped it down, and then I did a bunch of things, and then I thought, well, I didn't think. I was like, man, this is weird. And then Greg says, just use Bruce's slicer. So then I sliced it and improved the slicer, and it's fine. Looks like a benchy. It printed at 0.52 layer height, and it was so unremarkable I threw it away already. It was fine. So I guess we can use that little 0.6 nozzle story. Even though you do all your due diligence, you might have to blow away your slicer.
Right.
Which
Well,
brings us to
the next topic, which
something.
has been a long time coming, David. Like it's
So
been
we built a
many,
time
many
machine,
years.
and we went back to 2018. Doodle doo, doodle doo, doodle doo. It's 2018 right now. This is huge news for 2018. This is giant news for 2018.
Giant news, huge news.
In 2018, 2019, Simplified 3D version 5.0 came out in 2018, 2019. So, as you
Wait a minute, isn't it 2022?
Oh crap! So it's not that big of a news. So here's the thing. As facetious as we are being, Simplified 3D did release. It has come out.
Yeah. And it's $60 US if you have a previous version.
Otherwise, it's a lot more.
$200.
Yeah, it's a lot more. And is it when I run out and buy it or use it? Well, let's take a look, shall we, Greg? At
well,
some
you know,
the...
for if you owned it and you use it quite a bit, I mean, $60 is reasonable to upgrade if you used it.
Well,
lots,
and the thing,
but I don't.
And here's the thing, and I'm just gonna do this and this. No, this and this. There we go. It's 2018, and this is huge news because let me tell you, there is so many good features for 2018 in this slicer. Adaptive layer height came out. No, it's 2018 though. Bruce, yeah. So here's the thing, and we are being sloppy with faceticism and sarcasm here because this is not news. I mean, we might do a video on it. We may, because we fall into that category, and there's a printer that we do have that works best with Simplify. Believe it or not, there's a use case, but yeah, if you have a yeah. Yep. Well, it is process driven. That's a good way to, like, this is a process driven slicer. Hold on, Greg is muted, it says. Guys, let me tell you. Here, I'll summarize what Greg's saying. He loves when I do this. Okay. I like tacos. That's what he's saying right now. And I don't know why he loves tacos so much, but he's saying if you can donate tacos to him. You're not saying that? I thought he was. Sorry, guys. I was confused. Hold on. I got to switch out of studio mode here. And then that should let me see the holy screen share. Okay, talk again. I disagree with. He's muted. I see him talking. I see him talking lots. Are you talking? Is he really muted? Can you guys not hear him? Well, you're still on that view, and I still see you talking. I'm gonna ask the question for a few seconds. I'll talk about it. Can somebody tell me if they can hear Greg? Fleece was white as wow. Technical difficulties with stuff now. Yeah, I know. We're gonna go. We'll go with maybe. I don't know. Here, hold on. I'm gonna switch. It was really profound. I'm gonna switch, and then I'm gonna move
There.
this over
Now,
here.
now can you hear me?
I'm gonna move this over here. Steak filled
Thanks,
in the whole
Stig.
first up taco. Thanks, steak. See,
So,
um, it looks like they can. I switched out of the other mode so I could see that your mic was working. As far as I can tell. Now we can't. Hold on. Hey, whoa. Whoa, don't put this on me. Now he's making fun of me because he's like, I have tacos and you don't. I'm like, what the heck, man? Just kidding. Was he there when we were on the other screen? I wonder. I don't know why you're muted. One sec. I'm just gonna check a thing. It could be. Sometimes it doesn't work. I'm just gonna fly through this quick, and then we'll go back and talk. Because I just want to show some of the revolutionary features, Greg. You can give heads ups and thumbs up and then boos. Okay, mostly boos. So like, so Simplify3d. It's new. It's revolutionary. It's 2018, and the reason I say that is, the adaptive layer height thing. Greg said it, and nobody could hear it. Kira and Prusa both introduced this feature. Prusa does it with. You can do paint on, you can do automatic. Kira does it automatic or paint on if you get the right add-ons, right? The 3D infill patterns have been here forever. Gyroid. They did add some that I don't think make any difference to anything. They look cool. Like, it's like Archimedes chords in Prusa Slicer. Looks really neat. But yeah, so adaptive support for infill. Now this feature is actually the dynamic infill. You can do it in Kira, you can do it in Prusa. It just prints more at the top, right? And then there's this auto seam hiding thing, and I'm like, wait, I'm pretty sure no, Prusa and Kira doing that. Now, if you don't use this feature in either of them, wow, is it terrible? Like, the seam is just everywhere, right? But and then the other point to make too is a well-tuned printer. So your E-steps are correct, your flow's correct, your retraction set really good. You usually don't see too much of a seam, right? If you see zits or seams, probably look at your flow and retraction first. The support structures have changed. They have a little bit of infill, but hey, spoiler alert. Kira and Prusa do all this stuff, and then this custom support shapes. I'm sure they had to call this so that they didn't tread upon tree supports, because that's what that is. Now, they can't hear you yet. What, the custom support shapes? It's tree supports. Oh yeah. Yeah. So sorry, Greg makes the point, and I'm gonna speak for him. And it's not about tacos this time. Prusa doesn't have tree supports yet. That's what he was saying, and it is kind of nice. But Kira does. It does support some bulk editing features, and it has, they call it detailed previews. And spoiler alert, if you look at like the models and the coloring, you have movement speed, layer height, flow rate, feature type, active tool head, and process. Wow, Kira and Prusa. Yeah, I know, right? Idea maker, Kira, Prusa, matter control. If you can say matter control has it, hey. And then it has upgraded 3D views, and it supports actual like 3D mouse point. Like if you used version 4 before, it was terrible. Like it was completely unintuitive compared to the other ones, and it was hard to use. And it looks like they've updated it. And I say looks like because we haven't used it, but we will, just to show you what it's about. And then they have like you can change hole sizes on the fly, adjust flow rate control, and gee, that both sounds like something Prusa Slicer does. And so I guess the point of our whole thing here now is and seamless CAD integration. Wait, I'm pretty sure you can export anything from CAD to anything. And then mesh repair. So they were missing auto mesh repair. So those are the big ones. They're saying, and I'm gonna switch back so we can hear Greg now because he's just dying. You should see him. He's like, I gotta talk, and it's really sad for him. So that's the quick spiel on it. Now, okay, now you're back.
I was just finishing my tacos, so it's all good.
Holy tacos. So like, there's a lot of stuff in it, and I won't say there's not a lot of stuff.
Am I blown away?
No.
Did they catch up to 2018?
Yes.
Yep. So now how many years will it take to get to 2022?
And that's the point. This slicer is not a modern slicer yet. They spent a lot of time and development.
And maybe all the time they spent in the back end and doing all this other stuff, maybe there's more coming. They did add dark mode.
Wow. Kira has dark mode too. So Stig asks, is this just a paid version of what Kira gives you for free? And honestly, in the before times when Simplify3d was about version 4, which was
3 point something.
Yeah, like it offered good features that other slicers couldn't do, and they actually had a product that was worth it was 200 Canadian or 159 American, I think.
Yeah.
Today, when we look at it now, I think it's
200 US.
Let's click buy now. I got it.
It's 200
US. So they've added $50 to a product that is probably, I would say, 2 years behind modern slicers with their development pattern. Now, does that mean that they're done? No.
No.
In fact,
and they could come out with something revolutionary, but right now, honestly, like it's just if you were totally 100% in the Simplify world, and that's your manufacturing flow, and the manufacturing flow inside and out, this is going to be a leap forward for you. If that's all you've been doing in slicing for many years, it is going to be a leap forward for those people.
So I've been watching a lot of
the
videos
hobby world,
on this, like lots of people are like, wow, this is out, but like I switched 2 years ago.
Yeah.
3 years ago. And like
one
of the biggest things for like our slicers, Prusa, Kira, like and Super Slicer soon, and is the fact that they're using the Arachne engine. Like that revolutionized the speed of a slicer. So there's a reason why Prusa Slicer and Kira all of a sudden seemed way faster. It's because Kira developed it and Prusa Slicer was like, wow, this is a great feature. We're both open source. We're going to use it.
Yeah.
And then you get something like this and they tout that the slicing is faster, but in actual real world, it's still slower than the free ones.
And Stig, you're 100% right. If you're a hobbyist or whatnot, number one, there's a way steeper learning curve for this process driven slicing than there is for throwing it in Prusa or throwing it in Kira and choosing a profile and going, right?
Yep.
You can get slicing in minutes or less in Prusa and Kira.
Well,
right. But this one, it might take you hours to get to the point where you're wrapped around enough just to get a result you're looking for, just because there's a learning curve to the process.
And I think back to like our first videos was like, hey, this is how you actually tune a slicer for it to work. Right. And you don't do that anymore. You don't have to do that anymore.
No, they've matured enough that you don't have to really tweak them as much.
But back in the day, that was one of the biggest draws with Simplify3d. Because back in the previous versions, you had competitors that weren't polished. Like when Kira first came out, you couldn't
Kira 0.01 or whatever it was.
It was hard to use. Like and like, not that it didn't work, but it was hard to use, and it was really a closed system for like, you got it with their printer and you used it. Slick 3R,
Yeah.
That was, it wasn't hard to use, but it was more complicated because there was no default profile. So you were setting it up from scratch, right? And that's
Mhm.
where Simplified at the time really shone. Was there value back then in paying for Simplified? For sure there was, because people could just buy it and then click a printer and then print.
Yeah.
They
And
didn't
they
have to
did
go
add
in and tune and stuff,
they
right?
did add a bunch of the more common printers that are out there now to this new one.
Yeah.
Um,
But they've also made
so
it harder to find the printers. Like the old wizard is gone and you can
oh
only search for it.
y-
So
yeah.
it's like but again, printer support's something everybody's adding. Look at all the printers that the now
Hmm.
granted all the not all, but lots of the printers in Kira are like from community members that had the printer and then added it into the build, right?
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Simplified 3D,
It's closed.
it's closed loop. The printer profiles now, I'd have to double check in the new like 5, but in 4.1, when you made a custom printer profile, it was saved in the registry in Windows. So there was no actual
Yeah.
like file you could copy out like and save. Now you could you could export your registry hive and then
Yeah.
import it back in, right? And like there's ways around it, but like I don't know, even like for our friend like Stig, I don't think there's a Linux version, right? Like I think it's, I don't
No.
remember. I'm just looking. Uh,
I can't speak to that because yeah.
but like technical specifications. Here we go. Windows, Mac. Oh, there's Linux. There you go. There's Linux version. So, but it's based. It's an OpenGL based slicer, so it's going to run slow on startup, much like the older version of Kira did. Versus like the modern version of Prusa Slicer and Kira. By the way, it's 3 years since I got my first 3D printer. Wow! Congratulations on the 3 years of the hobby.
Yeah.
It's and you kept your sanity.
That's
Most
which
good,
mostly.
good job. One
I
of
think
us,
I've mostly kept mine.
right? Me
Mostly.
too. Mostly for the most part. Now there's so we're tearing it down a little bit, and I do want to be clear that if you buy Simplified 3D because you want a purchased product with purchase support that's not community driven, this is probably the only product that I can think of out there that ticks that box. So if you want
Yeah.
somebody to click the little box that says contact support and then you can talk to a human being about something going on in your slicer, this is probably, I'm trying to think, like you can't do that with Bruce's slicer, you can't do that with Kira, and like Greg and I are friendly people, and we're probably the people that would be the contact support for Bruce and Kira, like in our community.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a Simplify master because honestly, the there was so many settings and so many
Hmm.
tweaks and so the process, like I just wanted to print,
And I got okay
right?
at it, but like the thing is again, we have a community like
It's a different mindset.
it's a different mindset. So we have a community driven support structure, and I hate that word. You know how much I hate that word, because and like it goes back to the problems we have with like 3D printing forms. But that's what Kira and Prusa are using for their free versions, right? We built this for you. If you need some help, you can jump in a forum and ask
Yeah.
somebody, not us, but somebody, which is fair,
Yeah.
right? Where
Yep.
Simplified is saying we support this product,
Yeah.
ask us. And
Yeah. And
so,
so that, I mean, that's why you pay for it,
yeah,
right? They need to pay their employees
when it comes
and
down to
whatnot.
it, though,
So
does it outperform? No. Is it bleeding
could there
edge?
be could
No,
there be some hidden gems in there that we just don't know about, or some expandability that we don't know about?
maybe.
Absolutely.
Like they're already
But
updating stuff. Like, did you? I was watching 3D Printing Nerd
yes,
go through it,
they patched a bug and they didn't even rev the sub
and
number.
and I definitely don't agree with that. If you're
If you
going to do a
patched it, you'll
patch at
add a point
point
zero zero
one,
zero one or
yeah,
something. I don't
like,
know.
because if you don't, that's almost false advertising at that point because it's not the original product anymore.
Yeah.
But again, that's here nor there. But like, that's the support you can get from them, right? He had an issue. He emailed them and said, "Hey, this is broken. It's adding." The problem he was having was it was using the wrong extruder for bridging.
Yeah, well, it was really unique. Like it was
You would
just
never
when it
think
got to
about it.
that one, yeah,
Yeah,
it would just switch, and he didn't have anything loaded in that
yeah,
extruder, so
and
it or he did, but it wasn't enough to actually do anything.
yeah,
Like it
it's
was
just like
just
a
a
white smear.
remnant.
So, like, is there a like so simple on their front page? They offer this as tested and verified expert support team. And I think the other important one would be professional solution. Now,
Yeah,
is it
yeah.
all of those? Probably.
This I could see engineering firms,
Yep.
that sort of thing. They would use this because they are already using CAM
Yep.
a lot and whatnot, so they're very familiar with the CAM process, right? And I'm not as familiar with the CAM
And
process. I'm just learn. I'm still, I'm baby steps for me with the
honestly,
CAM process.
Simplified did wonderful things, but Prusa and Kira have both. Like, Kira has that postscript menu that you can go in
Yep,
and edit, and Prusa has the scripting availability in your
yep.
custom G code. And when they added that, everything about Simplified that was like, oh man, this is, great process cam, it kind of faded. But again, it's one of those things where if you're in an industry, if you're in business, I'm sure you would prefer to purchase something.
And yeah, and be able to have some
Yeah.
support and whatnot.
I think it was a little bit dirty pool too, the process they got to getting to version 5. And this is the last thing I'll say about it. I think you guys can tell that I'm not going to run out and like,
2 years in a row, they announced it was being updated soon.
yeah, three actually almost. And then so we bought in at version 4, and then 4.1 came out, I think 2 months, maybe 3 after we had bought it. But when you bought your license, they said, and they had already announced 5 when we had bought 4, okay? And they had said that if it was within a year,
You get a
you would
free
get the
version
version
update.
5. Don't worry about it. And, so like we bought it and we kind of had that in the back of our mind. Like, you know what, they've announced it, so it can't be much longer. But then 3 years, I might have even been 4 years, because I think we
Yeah,
bought it in 2018.
it was skirting vaporware.
Yeah.
Is what it was.
And
But they're here. It's here, so it's not technically vaporware.
no, not anymore. But it's
Yeah,
definitely, it feels like one of those Kickstarters that you support, and you'll get something that looks like the thing that they had, but it doesn't do anything.
yeah.
Here's a drone, and it has a propeller, but it can't fly. Right?
It looks
It
cool
looks
though.
cool. Like Peachy Printer looked great.
Yeah.
I'm just like, and if you're an EDU and stuff, there is an education stream and you can get discounts, which is great, but I don't think anybody here is
It's
an
like
EDU.
10% off
Yeah. So
something like that.
So
Yeah.
when it comes down to it, I'll say this: I am going to stick with probably Prusa and Kira combo. Now,
Yeah.
Super
Yeah.
Slicer has caught my eye. It's on the side, and I'm like, okay, I know you exist. You've existed for a while. But
It's
my
it's a little bit behind Prusa,
it takes about
even
6
though
months.
even
Yeah,
though it's based on Prusa ish.
yeah, it's a copy paste,
So
right? And then
yeah,
they
so
change the logo,
they try to re-implement the Prusa features and rename them to
and they do
something
have some
different.
features that aren't in Prusa, and I think this goes back to like, kind of like the Minecraft conundrum, right? Or many other gaming platform too, right? Like you have a bunch of modders that are like, this is better, but the company knows that they need to keep this release stream going in a certain way.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
what Bruce and Kira are doing.
yeah, for
And
sure.
but Super Slicer, the only reason I haven't is I'm opposed to installing things on my computer that don't have verified installers. And
Yeah.
this is like a sketchy zip that they've compiled where you can compile it yourself. But like I
Yeah.
don't know what's in that code, which means I don't know if I can actually trust it to
Yeah.
run.
Is it signed and all that? Yeah.
Now next weekend is the Christmas day weekend and stuff, and
Yep.
if I'm looking at the calendar right, 7 plus 8 is 25 or 18 actually.
Yeah.
So next
25th
Sunday is
is
the
the next.
25th. So I don't. So
I'm not sure that we're having a stream,
I won't be here.
but
I can tell you that
but
for sure.
but
Yeah.
sometime that week we'll most likely be doing some streams and playing and
Yeah.
stuff. So
We will have streaming like that week period
yeah,
for
like
sure.
last year I built my Hulk
Yeah.
that week, I think.
So streams will happen, but probably not on Christmas Day and probably not on New Year's.
But
Although that one,
we we need to thank some people and do another reminder.
hold on, I'm professional at this. Did it?
So I don't we want to thank again Helge for being at the tree supports and everyone else on this page so much. And again, we have a great Discord community out there that everyone can be a part of. And we want you guys to enter the Great Holiday Design Off Part 2 because we have prizes sponsored by Spool 3D.
I don't have
We have a
any of those
sponsor and
logos,
everything.
sorry, but we do. We have
So
sponsors.
so if you go on to our website,
Got
we've
it.
updated
Boom.
the contest
Ready with that one.
information. So we've extended it out just because we meant to kind of remind people in November and announce it and everything and never got it until late. So we're going to extend it. So it's a holiday kind of, we want to give back to you guys. That's what this is about. So make an initial, I don't care, make a name, enter something.
So the first time we did
tried to give you free stuff.
Yeah, this isn't like so the first time we did it, it was like specifically like make a Christmas bauble. And that's great. If you want to make like a bauble for like the holiday or whatever, hang on a tree, you can do that. That's fine. Did we get more?
I don't
I'm
know.
gonna have to check Patreon because I see more people in the Discord now. But
but definitely,
anything.
and enter something that you have made.
Yeah.
Go into Tinkercad. I don't care if it's a box with an initial on it, right? We want you to make something, submit it, and then that's your entry, and we can give you a prize. And so
it's not quite that straightforward.
If you want free stuff,
Yeah.
make something unique, and you get potential to win free stuff.
And to be clear, this is not a judged best design. No, this is if you submit something, you go into a draw.
Yeah, we did it last year. We used one of the randomizers. So we put everyone's name that was in the entries into the randomizer, and one of the names was pulled. So don't think that your model isn't good enough. Your model is a way to get you as an entered person.
Yep. And I mean, we like to print them and show them off. But so next week on Sunday, don't expect us here. Probably follow the Discord though, because we'll update whether or not we are going to be like live or like are we going to be doing a Marlin stream or something like that, right? So follow the Discord. If there's a good chance that the formality or the formal stuff won't come back because we'll probably just be hanging out. So happy holidays.
Yes.
And the best in the new year. We'll see you in the new year.
Absolutely. We'll see you maybe before the new year too. But
if we don't.
But have safe travels if you're traveling to visit family and all that. And so we hope we get some official entries in soon. And we look forward to seeing what you guys submit And yeah,
Hmm.
thanks for hanging out with us today. And Stig, we'll definitely have some tacos.
At least two
I'll make
tacos.
I'll make sure that David and I go for Taco Tuesday.
Get some Taco Tuesday on Tuesday. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, friends. All right, so we'll see you soon, but not next Sunday. All right. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.